find that out.
But they're not. They're never going to be our cheerleaders.
Yeah.
But at least we can get them to stop shanking us while we're on the ground.
Exactly. One of the fun things to do is to read the local newspapers on the air. One of the things that I do on Mondays is read what we call read between the lines, because it's amazing what they tell you, what they omit, or how they massage it.
Yeah, and one of the great things, you mentioned the MRC. The Newsbusters blog is one of the first I go to every day, and they just nail those guys every time, because it's not always overt editorializing and stating opinion as fact. It's just using certain words. And give you an example, and I don't know why this just came to me. Years ago, probably 20 years ago, when the Christian Coalition was still a thing, I noticed that Dan Rather on CBS, whenever there was a story involving the Christian Coalition, he said the so-called Christian Coalition. I'm like, oh, that's their name. What you're saying is, it's ballsy for them to call themselves Christians. Exactly. Look at these terrible people. So, it's little things like that.
It is. It's that that's quiet hypnosis that they carry on.
Right. Yeah. And it's a lot of it's born. Some of it is agenda driven. Some of it's born out of laziness. Some of it is the natural contempt they hold for us, which I say is born of ignorance. And so that's my challenge, is to try and persuade folks in the media that maybe their dogma is a little bit off.
Yeah, well,
I would like to wish you the best.
Yeah, thanks.
Our battle is not only with the Houston Chronicle, the San Antonio Express, the Dallas Morning News. There are lots of small little newspapers that also think that they are the news, the New York Times.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you've got the TV stations that are too fast.
Right.
The radio stations that are also too quick to listen to get the in-depth story. Let me ask you one last question. What kind of recommendation are you going to give our folks here tonight or today, this afternoon, as far as communications? What's your message going to be?
Well, since I like you, I'm not going to charge you the $8 to tell you this, but honestly, it's sort of what I just said. Be aware of what we're up against in the media, the type of biases, what their roots are, and what you can do again to stop the bleeding, and how to engage and how to avoid some pitfall questions. And the good thing about the timing of this is, I gave this talk to the local coordinators in D.C. back in November. Maria graciously invited me to come give the talk again. Since then, this very week, the organization put me through a one-day intensive media training course where, and I was like, I've been doing media as a journalism major. I know how to do this. I've been a lawyer talking in front of juries. I know what I'm doing. Fine, let's go. Well, then we did some messaging exercises, and then it's okay, these are the two message areas, now let's do an exercise. And the guy sat me down and ran that video, and after the first 10 times, and I wasn't staying on message.
Yeah.
And then we went back and looked at it, and I'm like, my gosh, I look like a fool up there. But the next 2 times, he was like, good job. And so there's a technique. Right. It's not that hard. It takes a little bit of practice, and so we'll try and get into a little bit of that today, too.
Excellent. Doc?
I think you pretty well covered it. I mean, it's a constant battle with the media, and it's very much us against them. And of course,
well, that's why we both won.
Well, and I'm a Scots-Irish from Alabama, and I like to fight, and so I relish. It is a fight. I try to go at it with joy, and be a happy warrior.
A happy conservative warrior.
Absolutely.
You another guy like that.
One of the classic headlines, head banners that I have ever seen here in Texas was the Corpus Christi Caller last year when the citizens beat down a huge bond election that was going on. And of course the plutocracy and the establishment were all for that bond.
Yeah.
Because it was going to create, a new world.
Right.
And the next day after they got beaten, the Corpus Christi Caller carried a banner that said, "The people have spoken, but it was the wrong people." It was amazing.
Well, you know,
It was amazing.
that sounds like Obama 2 days after
Exactly.
the midterms. I've also heard the 2/3 of Americans who didn't vote.
That
Well,
didn't vote.
you know what? I don't think you did. Because if they liked you better, they probably would have voted.
It's
But
amazing. It's amazing that they get away with that kind of stuff.
thanks, guys, for the opportunity to rage with you today. I feel like I've been part of a stampede.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Thank you very much, Kevin Broughton.
Guys, enjoy it.
Communications Director of Tea Party Patriots, and El Conservador, Jorge Rodriguez. Thank you guys for being here today. We are broadcasting live
That was fun,
from
man.
Houston at the Marriott Tea Party Patriots training event. And this is where we teach the young soldiers, and some of the old soldiers too, how they can best fight the fight that we're engaged in. I got to tell you, I'm overwhelmingly amazed by the positive message that we're getting here today, and it's inspiring me to want to be a little bit more positive too. Though no one still has given me a reason to hope that the America that I grew up with, the United States of America, will remain intact 5 years from now. But I think that for a lot of people, they just like to kind of ignore that and not worry about it. I admire their upbeat, positive attitude. I, on the other hand, believe that we can save Texas. I believe that it's essential that we save Texas. And I believe that if we do save Texas, that Texas may go some distance towards saving the United States. And that's what we're working toward, is to be able to save Texas and, by extension, the United States. Because chances are, if Texas were to secede, to step away from the Union, as it were, chances are that Louisiana would join us. And not only would Louisiana join us, but Mississippi would join us, and Alabama would join us, and Georgia would join us. And then I guess it would be the Southern Confederate States. I don't know. Florida is unlikely to join us because they have so many liberals. But I am optimistic in this regard, that I do expect these things to happen. I'm going to move this microphone a little closer. I think Pedro's still live streaming over there. So probably hear me better now with that mic there.